Hello and welcome to God's Daily Dose at Come and See Friends Church in Texas City, Texas. My name is Leanna Doherty and I am bringing you the Daily Dose from my living room today. So, we are in chapter 3 of the book of Esther. Esther is in the Old Testament. Esther is a Greek name for the Hebrew name Hadassah. So Hadassah is her name in Hebrew. And we so far have learned or read about King Ahasuerus in Greek, or Xerxes, in Hebrew, or Xerxes in Greek. And so some of your translations may say King Xerxes and some may say King Ahasuerus. They are the same person. Esther was chosen as queen after a search of the most beautiful of all of the young ladies in waiting, or virgins, of all 127 provinces in the king's kingdom. And so Esther was chosen as the queen. She replaced Queen Vashti or Queen Vashti, however you choose to pronounce it. She doesn't care. So, okay. We learned that there was a plot within some of the staff of the king's palace to kill the king. They wanted him dead and they were going to kill him, and there were two of his guards, I believe, that were going to see it through. And Mordecai, who is he is a Jew who lives in Susa, where the king's palace is, who is the cousin of Esther. And so Mordecai overhears this because he's checking up on Esther every day. She's inside the palace, he's outside the palace. The king, or no one knows that Esther is a Jew, and Mordecai is telling her to keep it hush hush, don't tell anyone. So Mordecai, while he's there hanging around the palace, he overhears a plot to have the king killed, tells Esther, Esther tells someone, Mordecai gets the credit, and it's recorded in the historical logs that there was a plot to kill King Xerxes, and Mordecai, one of the citizens, a Jew of Susa, where they're situated, foiled their plan and saved the king. And so it's at this time that we now have our villain of the story of Esther introduced. So his name is Haman. So let's start in chapter 3 of the book of Esther. After these things, King Ahasuerus promoted Haman the Agagite, remember that, the son of Hammedatha, and advanced him and set his throne above all the officials who were with him, and all the king's servants who were at the king's gate bowed down and paid homage to Haman, for the king had so commanded concerning him. But Mordecai did not bow down or pay homage. Then the king's servants who were at the king's gate said to Mordecai, "Why do you transgress the king's command?" And when they spoke to him day after day, and he would not listen to them, they told Haman in order to see whether Mordecai's words would stand, for he had told them that he was a Jew. And when Haman saw that Mordecai did not bow down or pay homage to him, Haman was filled with fury. But he disdained to lay hands on Mordecai alone. So, as they had made known to him the people of Mordecai, Haman sought to destroy all the Jews, the people of Mordecai, throughout the whole kingdom of Ahasuerus. Okay, that's verses 1 through 6. I'm going to stop right there and do a little recap. So these are all of the servants that are at the king's gate. Okay, so that would have been a lot of people keeping guard, and then just kind of a watering hole, a gathering place for the people of the palace. And Mordecai likes to hang out there too. He's keeping an eye on Esther from outside the palace. So every time, so the King Xerxes commands all of the servants at the king's gate to bow to bow to Haman the Agagite. And Haman says, I'm not doing it. And so that's what happened. Let's pick up in verse 7. In the first month, which is the month of Nisan, in the 12th year of the king Ahasuerus, they cast pure, that is, casting lots or dice, before Haman day after day, and they cast it month after month till the 12th month, which is the month of Adar. Then Haman said to King Ahasuerus, there is a certain people scattered abroad and dispersed among the peoples in all the provinces of your kingdom. Their laws are different from those in every other people, and they do not keep the king's laws, so that it is not to the king's profit to tolerate them. If it please the king, let it be decreed that they be destroyed, and I will pay 10,000 talents of silver into the hands of those who have charge of the king's business, that they may put it into the king's treasuries. So the king took his signet ring from his hand and gave it to Haman the Agagite, the son of Hammedatha, the enemy of the Jews. And the king said to Haman, the money is given to you, the people also, to do with them as it seems good to you. So in other words, he's saying, keep your money, spend it on your buddies, spend it on your people, your friends. Do whatever you want with it. You keep it. Here is my signet ring, which would give Haman authority to create new laws or put new orders in place and have them sent out to all of the kingdom. So this king, he doesn't really seem like he's too hands-on with what's going on. So 10,000 talents of silver is what Haman offers the king. That's about 2/3 a year's wage for the people at that time. Haman calls the Jews a certain people scattered abroad, dispersed among the peoples in all the provinces of your kingdom. Their laws are different from those of every other people, and they do not keep the king's laws. In other words, they don't serve you any purpose. They don't keep your laws. They're different from everybody else here. They're all over the place, and it's probably just best if you just get rid of them. As a matter of fact, I'll give you 2/3 of my annual salary if you'll just let me get rid of all these people. So now here's the thing. Haman is an Agagite. He is a descendant of a ruler of an ancient enemy of the Israelites, specifically an enemy of King Saul, the King Agag, A-G-A-G. So Agag is, and his people, his descendants, are ancient enemies of Israel dating all the way back to King Saul. Possibly Mordecai, the one who refuses to bow, the cousin of Esther, possibly Mordecai is a descendant of Saul, and that would have been known. So Haman, a descendant of Agag, and Mordecai, possibly a descendant of Saul. He doesn't want to bow to him. He says, I'm not bowing to that guy. He's an Agagite, and he's an enemy of my people, and I'm not bowing to that guy. And then Haman finds out who he is, and he says, oh, you know what? I can handle this. I got this. You know what? And so he goes to King Ahasuerus or King Xerxes and says, these people are just in your way, and they're not serving any purpose for you. I really want to get rid of them. Let me just do it. And King Ahasuerus says, here you go. All right, so let's see. I think we are starting in verse 12. The king's scribes were summoned on the 13th day of the first month, And an edict according to all that Haman commanded was written to the king's satraps and to the governors all over the provinces, to the officials of all the peoples, to every province in its own script, and every people in its own language. It was written in the name of King Ahasuerus and sealed with the king's signet ring. Letters were sent by couriers to all the king's provinces with instructions to destroy, to kill, and to annihilate all the Jews, young and old, women and children, in one day, the 13th day of the 12th month, which is the month of Adar, and to plunder their goods. A copy of the document was to be issued as a decree in every province by proclamation to all the peoples, and to be ready for that day. The couriers went out hurriedly by order of the king, and the decree was issued in Susa the citadel. And the king and Haman sat down to drink, but the city of Susa was thrown into confusion. So Haman summons all the scribes. It's the beginning of the year. He summons all the scribes. He has all of this order to kill, destroy, and annihilate. Okay, he is out to get the Jews. They do not stand the chance. Men, women, young, old, everybody who is of Jewish descent, nobody lives according to this. Okay, so here we have yet another attempt to wipe out the Jewish race, God's chosen people. All right. At the end of this, Haman and the king sit down and they relax and they congratulate themselves, and they have a whatever beverage, wine, I'm sure. So they sit down and they enjoy a nightcap, and they just think about how wonderful they are as rulers. But the entire city of Susa is completely confused. They are like, what? And now, I've talked about this, I'm going to say it again. The 127 provinces covers a region which today would be from the border of Pakistan, the end border of Pakistan where India borders it, all the way across, all the way through Iran, all the way through Syria, into about halfway through Egypt, and down into portions of Sudan. So there's a lot of different languages spoken. This had to be translated. It had to be sent via courier. I'm guessing horse, but I'm not sure what other modes of transportation they would have. Camel, horse. So they start at the beginning of the year translating into all the different languages, and then they take it, and then they take it there, and it's probably translated again there, but the message stays the same. Plunder all them, which means you get everything they have. Whatever they have is yours now if you take their family out. Everybody who's not a Jew in every province gets to kill and plunder all of their goods. So, move into their house, all of their livestock, whatever valuables they would have had, whatever clothing they would have had, those kinds of things, you can have it. It's yours now. Just kill those people. All right, so that is where we leave off at the end of chapter 3, and we will enjoy chapter 4, where we see that Esther is going to step in, and she has a plan, even though she is scared, and for good reason. Thank you for joining me. I want to close out the way Billy Joe always closes out. By the way, I'm stepping in for Billy Joe, who is on vacation, but she always tells us at the end of every daily dose that we fully rely on God each and every day. We submit ourselves to God. We have faith and trust in Jesus, and we seek first God's kingdom and His righteousness. We read our word every day, but we don't just know it. We live it, love it, and obey it. Let's remember to pray always and about everything. Thank you.